All right, so now we're going to look at revenue from ticket sales or how much money was brought in. So the expressions P times 200 minus 5P and negative 5P squared plus 200P define the same function. So the function models the revenue a school would earn from selling raffle tickets at P dollars each. So at what price would the school collect $0 in revenue? So what we're going to do is take this function and set it equal to 0. So P times 200 minus 5P is equal to 0. Now remember, we can use what's called the zero product property to solve this. If I'm multiplying two numbers and they equal 0, well, one of them equals 0. So if I have expressions, we essentially have two expressions here. We have the first expression where I could say, well, let's say that P equals 0. Or we could have the second part, 200 minus 5P is equal to 0. So I'm going to solve this equation. So first, I'm going to add 5P to both sides. So that's going to be 0. I'm going to move my solution up here. So we have 200 is equal to 5P. Then just divide both sides by 5. And here we would have 40 is equal to P. So our two spots where you would collect $0 in revenue are prices of 0 and 40. So there's two of them. If we set the price to 0, we would bring in no uh, revenue because it would be free. And if we set the price to be 40, we would also bring in no revenue. So the school staff noticed there are two tickets prices that would both result in a revenue of $500. How would you find out what those two ticket prices are? So for this one, we can't set it equal to $500 because I couldn't use the zero product property. So what I'm going to do is use this kind of expression that's almost in what we call standard form. So we have negative 5p squared plus 200p is equal to 500. So then what I'm going to do is get this equal to 0 by subtracting 500 from both sides. So we would get negative 5p squared plus 200p minus 500 is equal to 0. And then what we're going to do is use technology to solve this equation. So I'm just going to put in there negative 5x squared plus 200x minus 500. Then I'm going to graph that. And I notice I can only see one part. So I'm just going to zoom. And I'm going to actually just change my graphing window. So for my window, I'm going to change the x maximum to be 20 and see how that helps. So I'm just going to zoom out here then and see, would that help? See, there we go. And now we can see the two zeros of the parabola, but we can't see our maximum point. So what I'm going to do again here is just calculate a 0. So press second, calculate, go to 0. And I need to go to the left of the 0. If you notice, it started. So I'll say x is -5. And then to go to the right, we'll say x is 9. So somewhere in the middle of those points. And it says x is about, I'll round that to 2.7. So our price is 2.7, about, or 270, since this is money. And then I'm going to calculate another 0. And my left bound, I'm going to put at 5. And then my right bound, it went back to negative, so I'm going to go there. And it says it's 37.32, it looks like. And this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is much easier with Desmos. So if you just put y equals -5p squared plus 200p minus 500 equals, or y equals, and then just this expression, you can just click on the 2 points to find the zeros.